Alright, this video is going to show you the basics of circular pattern. What we're going to do is create the part from the activity that you guys are already working on, so it should look familiar. I'm going to show you how to do the circular pattern both in sketch mode as well as just as a feature itself. So my inventor does not open up immediately in sketch mode, so I've got to select Start 2D Sketch. I have to select a plane. I'm going to start off my origin, draw a 3-inch diameter circle, a 6-inch diameter circle, and say OK. And then the second thing I'm going to do is up here in your ribbon on the right hand side is the construction line tool. This allows you to create geometry that is viewed as a construction line versus an object line. And what I'm going to draw is a circle 2.25 times 2. So there's a couple things that I'm showing you here. First of all, in your toolbars or your pop-up toolbars, you can actually type in math calculations for yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and type that, and I'll show you here in a second why I did that. And that's because the center point from our part to the center point of these circles here was 2.25. I was drawing it as a diameter versus a radius, so 2.25 times 2. Now I'm going to turn the construction tool off, go back to my circle tool, and I'm just somewhere on this circle, making sure that I get the yellow dot to lock onto it, I'm going to draw a 1/4-inch diameter circle. Now, if we look at our status bar, we notice that we still need one dimension. If I turn on Show Degrees of Freedom, I see this arc here. And what that's telling me is that this circle that I just drew can still rotate a specific distance away from the origin. Quick way to get that fully constrained is our vertical constraint. And I'm just going to click on the center point and the origin. And that locks it directly above our origin, tells us it's fully constrained. Now, circular pattern tool, right here in the middle. First thing I have to do is select the geometry I want to pattern. In this case, it's this circle. Then I can tell it that I need to select the center point in which I'm rotating around, which I can select really any of these three circles, and it recognizes its origin or its center point. Then all I'm telling it is how many do I need. And while I have this up, I'll tell you, you can also say, oh, maybe I only need 2, but I need them to be 22.5 degrees away from each other. So you can use the circular pattern tool for quite a bit. We want to use the full circle, so 360 degrees, and we want 10 of them. All right? Everything comes in fully constrained because my original circle was fully constrained, so all of those are set where they have to be. I can then finish my sketch, say extrude, select my profile, and I believe it was a 1/2 inch. All right? That's how you could do it in sketch mode. But what I'll show you is these are holes, and as some of the previous videos said, we would much rather see you using the hole feature to do this. So what I've done here is I've just extruded the stock, that 3-inch and 6-inch diameter circle. I've created a second sketch that has the construction line that I just drew in the previous example, and you can't really see it, but I've also placed a point directly above my origin. And what I'm going to do here is quickly do the hole, so select my hole feature, 1/4 inch, it's recognizing the center point, so I'm just going to say OK. And this time I'm going to use the circular pattern feature as features. So if I click circular pattern, this time instead of asking for geometry, it's asking for the feature. I can either hover over my image, or I can actually go to my browser and just select it. So I'm going to select it in my browser, say rotational axis, and again just click one of those interior circles or the exterior circle and say that I need 10 of them. And it patterns that way. I will tell you, particularly when you start doing more complicated geometry, it's a lot easier to use the circular pattern tool as a feature than it is in sketch mode, simply because when you go to extrude or you go to revolve potentially, do any number of features with geometry that's used, the pattern tools, sometimes there are gaps in your path, and it just kind of creates some frustrating times. So again, when you're doing holes, we would prefer you to use the hole feature. When you think a pattern is necessary, a lot of times it's a little easier to do it in the features opposed to in your sketch mode. Either way, you've produced the same part, so fully constrained and everything's good.